Hey guys, I'm Joe Drake, and let's recap a few things that happened on last night's episode of The Real Housewives of New York City. First of all, no one cares that Leah has tattoos.
Let's ask you about you. Yeah, oh my God, you have a tattoo?
I have a lot of tattoos.
The woman was born and raised in New York City, and she has a really fighting spirit, and she's frankly a badass, so I'm not surprised that she does have tattoos. I mean, I don't have tattoos. I know that Ramona, Dorinda, Sonia, and Luann don't have tattoos, but let's face it, it's 2020. The fact that someone in your friend group happens to have tattoos, that's just inevitable nowadays. It actually made the other ladies sound a little too old-fashioned, if you ask me.
Because it's very is it defecating? No, that's on yourself. It's sort of on yourself, but it's like self-defaming.
Second of all, I feel bad for Luann. She got stuck with the bad room again. Even in the beginning of the episode, she asked Ramona to hook her up, and Ramona put her on the lower level.
Is this the basement?
It's the lower level.
Okay.
So we're
calling it the lower level. Okay. Give me a break. A basement is a basement.
Luann was right. She got put in the basement with the air conditioning blasting. She was cold, she was uncomfortable, and she was offended. In fact, in a preview for next week's episode, we see that Luann storms off and leaves a note for Ramona, pissed off.
What happened to I'm gonna be so happy. I'm gonna have the nicest room in the house. What happened to that?
Also, another thing that I love about these ladies is sometimes words don't come to their minds. I mean, we saw Sonia trying to teach Ramona the proper way to say touche. I still wasn't really following her logic.
Yeah, touche, I agree.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Touche is when you catch someone in a snafu, not when you say something you agree with.
I actually don't know.
You were supposed to say word.
I sort of got it, but perhaps she was a few rosés deep at that point. And then a few minutes later, we saw Dorinda use the word oratorically, which I'm not sure if that's what she meant. I think she meant audibly, but it was really funny to try to see her figure it out for herself and even have Sonia react accordingly.
I haven't heard her voice, so I could neither recognize her visually or whatever this is called. Yeah. No, I get it. Oratorially.
It also didn't take long for Dorinda and Leah to start butting heads, and what were they talking about? Of course, Leah's tattoo, which I love Dorinda, but I thought it was a little tacky to go after her tramp stamp, which she already told Sonia in the beginning of the episode that she was having it removed, so making fun of her for it just seems a little high school if you ask me.
It's not like I have a penis tattooed across my forehead or a gun tattoo on my neck.
But it also didn't take long at all for them to make up, and I don't know if we really saw it happen on camera, but they seem to be making amends at dinner, laughing with each other, and Dorinda even admitting in her confessional that she appreciates how tough Leah actually is. So I think that's a really good sign of how their friendship is going to evolve.
Like, you know, I'm kind of embraced toward her. Oh, her new best friend.
My new best, one of my best friends.
As for Tinsley, well, she happened to lose her voice this episode, which, to be honest with you, and Tinsley, if you're watching, I'm sorry, but it made for a little bit of a better episode because I do appreciate when one of the ladies is forced to be quiet so we can focus on what else is going on.
I'm hoping this helps my voice as well. We'll see. Thank you very much.
Because when all of them are full voice, it gets to be a little loud.
Said we're old and dying, you want younger friends.
You know what?
Sonia, you talk to a double mouth.
And finally, I gotta say, I do feel bad for Dorinda. We saw a little bit of a vulnerable side of her last night as she was talking about the fact that her Berkshire's home, Bluestone Manor, had flooded, and she has been dealing with contractor after contractor, and the cost of fixing everything up is just continuing to rise, which made me think, if John is not stepping up to the plate to be the man in the relationship and helping her out in her time of need, then maybe it's finally time for them to cut the cord. I mean, she was getting upset with Sonia and Luann, and she's just being honest about how overwhelmed she is, and she's just trying to get everything right, and it just doesn't feel like she can do it all on her own. So, John, it's time for you to step up.
I just wish I had someone that could step in and say, I'm gonna make it all better, and you can just forget and be that carefree person again.
All right, those are my thoughts of last night's episode of The Real Housewives of New York. Don't miss me next week. We'll all be doing the exact same thing, probably in the exact same spot. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel.